Grazing Response Index, or GRI, is a simple, effective way for livestock producers to evaluate grazing impacts on their land by applying the principles of plant response to defoliation. Developed by Colorado State University Range Extension Program, this monitoring system is a useful tool to evaluate the effects of the current year's grazing management and to make decisions about how to manage grazing in the upcoming year. The Saskatchewan Forage Council, Ducks Unlimited, and partners demonstrated the GRI monitoring system and its usefulness for making land management decisions in Saskatchewan pastures. The GRI process was originally created for use on native rangelands, but this project looked at adapting the GRI method to tame pastures. The demonstration was carried out from 2014 to 2016 thanks to funding from the Agricultural Demonstration of Practices and Technologies, or ADOPT, program. GRI measures three components: frequency, intensity, and opportunity for regrowth. Due to the fact that tame forages tend to respond differently to grazing pressures than native forages, some adaptations were made to the scoring process for the purposes of this project. Look for the full report on the Saskatchewan Forage Council website to learn more. Frequency is the number of times plants are grazed or defoliated during a grazing period. A period of 7 to 10 days for regrowth of the plant, based on local knowledge of plant growth rate and growing conditions, is selected. The number of grazing days in a pasture is then divided by the 7 or 10 regrowth period to determine how many times a plant could have been grazed, and a score is assigned accordingly. For example, in 2015, Site 3 was grazed for 11 days. Using a 7-day regrowth period, cattle could potentially have grazed any given plant twice during the 11 days, if the plant was grazed when they were first moved into the pasture. Based on the frequency index, 2 times grazed correlates to a score of 0, or neutral impact. Intensity measures how much leaf material is removed during the grazing period. The more leaf area left behind after grazing, the better capacity for regrowth and replenishment of root reserves. Comparing grazed areas to the ungrazed forage within grazing cages allows for a simple way to determine the percentage of forage that was removed. This factor is measured at the end of the grazing period. For example, in 2015, it was estimated that 75 to 80% of the foliage was removed during grazing at Site 3. In the adapted tame forage scoring method, this results in a score of 0, or neutral impact. Opportunity for regrowth scores the pasture based on the time and conditions allowed the plant to grow, rest, and regrow. This factor is assessed at the end of the growing season and is based on the level of recovery of the vegetation and a consideration of the amount of growth allowed the plants before they were grazed. In 2015, Site 3 had cattle grazing from August 4th to 17th, and then a second graze period from August 29th to September 2nd. Although plants had a full season of recovery time from 2014 to August 4th, 2015, the short time between the graze periods in late summer, when there's little rainfall, meant that plants lacked the opportunity to regrow sufficiently. For this reason, a score of -1 was assigned to the pasture in 2015. By adding together these three scores, Site 3 had a total GRI score of -1. Your overall GRI score gives you a general impression of the response the plants will have to your current year's grazing management. A negative score indicates that long-term management continuing with the same practices will likely have a negative effect on plant health. A positive score means the current year's grazing management was beneficial to plant health. For this site, the pasture was allowed to recover, and adequate rest time between grazing periods in 2016 was provided to improve the scoring and the overall pasture health. To learn more about the GRI method and this project, visit the Saskatchewan Forage Council website and look for completed projects and links to the Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada publication, Grazing Response Index, found on our resources page.